Hello and welcome everybody. Josh the RV Nerd of Bish's RV here with a couple little updates on our 19BH Go Play. This is the smallest, lightest, and least expensive of the entire Go Play series, which is an entire series dedicated to being less expensive, because what we've basically done here is we've partnered with a manufacturer who fulfills these for us, but instead of needing them to pay for for reps and food and lodging and national shows and stuff like that, we're taking on all the burden ourselves with work like this, like with this video that we're doing right here. So instead of an RV company who markets to dealerships and spends a lot of money doing it, we're bringing this straight to you and kind of cutting that out while still giving you a full-featured RV with absolutely nothing subtracted, so we're able to give you the whole package for a little bit less money as a result. Sometimes a couple $1,000s if you compare. But this RV right here brings some great things to the table. One interesting thing about this, it is 8 foot wide, but that actually creates a little more dinette space. It adds some extra storage up by the front bed that a lot of single axles typically lack. It adds some extra elbow room into the bathroom. These are also still a little bit taller than the average bear inside, which is very rare when you get into a small camper. It's a big small camper, basically. The underbelly of this is also still enclosed, which I think is cool. And now for 24, we are standardizing these with a 200-watt solar package, and we've tweaked up the interior decor a little bit. Now, there's some things on this that I still don't love, and I hope you appreciate that even though it's our exclusive branded trailer, I'm going to go through and still show you where I think they shine and maybe where I think they don't. But typically, areas where they don't shine, it's little low-dollar budget things that could fix it, stuff that even I, who an idiot with tools, could handle this thing. So if what you're looking for is like, we don't know where to start, we know we don't want a pop-up, we want a fully enclosed hard side camper, or maybe you just don't want something that requires a big truck, this is one that fits all those descriptions.
All right, one little thing I want to get out of the way, something that annoys me way more than it should, basically, in this camper, but it's an easy fix. These dinette cushions are, they're not secured in any way, shape, or form. If you notice, that one over there is just kind of leaning. It's the leaning tower of comfort, I guess, a little back rest. But it would be very easy to fix. You just get, some stick-on Velcro kind of tape. You put a couple pieces on the back side of this, and then you press it against the dinette so that they line up, and it's fixed. And if it's that simple, I kind of want it done from the factory. But again, I hope you appreciate that I'll share fair info, things that I like and things that I don't as I go through these. But again, most of the things I don't like are, generally speaking, a pretty easy fix.
And when I take it that things like that dinette thing by themselves, it's annoying. But when I remind myself of the price tag of this, I feel like I could add a couple little sticky Velcro things and still laugh all the way to the bank compared to a lot of things that are out there. So it's like, I can give it a pass. It's an annoyance. Like, here's my 2 cents. I would rather get rid of the outside speakers and put some Velcro on the dinette. That seems like a smart trade, but that's just me. Now, neat thing, these are taller inside. Just like the other Go Plays, this is still 6'9" and inside and 8 foot wide outside. And that is a significant amount of increased cubic foot of space here if you start comparing against a lot of other things. And then you factor in how these Go Plays typically run less money, and that is a pretty nice wombo combo. I really like the way that this kitchen is set up. Now, to be fair, this little kitchen is lacking painfully in good countertop prep space, but I do like that big farm sink, and I like I call it like vertical 2-burner over here. I think that in a small camper, that's one of the best ways to go. Also, a couple little power outlets right between. It might be a little tight, but maybe something I could make a coffee maker work. I don't drink coffee, so I'm not exactly sure how much space coffee makers necessarily need in them, so I just kind of want to throw that out there. But there you go. Now, just so that I don't annoy the life out of myself, I have laid the cushions down in this, because if I try to stand them up, it's not going to work. Now, interesting thing, we've got some power outlets under here, under the dinette. Super handy. There's also a set of power outlets up here in this little scoop beside the bed crack, which also works as kind of a handy place to drop some shoes. I've got another place that you could drop some shoes in this as well. And I do like the privacy curtain here for the bed. Now, the location of the TV hookups, frankly, is terrible. Just to put it bluntly, those TV hookups are not located in a good position for anybody to watch, unless as I back up here, you'll see that the TV hookups are straight across from the entry door. So if you set the whole family outside, yeah, maybe that could work. But the thing is, in a little camper like this, I don't know that a lot of people are actually going camping to watch TV. So I don't care that the TV hookup location is terrible, because I'm not going to use it anyway. That's just the way I personally look at it. Maybe it's a problem for you. I don't know. This is a 60 by 74 short queen, a camp queen. And that's a problem for some folks. I'd rather there be a true queen in here, but that wasn't possible considering they used the extra foot of width on this camper for that, storage space that you have over here. So, again, it might not be for everybody as a result. And if there was a true queen, would you be okay with this not being a full vertical wardrobe tower? Like, would you be okay with losing some of that so that your feet could basically slide under it? You might be able to have like a 2-shelf dresser over there, but I don't think you're going to have any sort of hanging space as a result. I just don't think that will be possible. Now, little campers like this one don't typically have amazing campsite window coverage. This is not much different. It is worth noting, though, usually little campers like this, you tend to only be in this camper as long as you have to. This is it's your base camp. This is where the kids take a quick cowboy shower. This is where you cook some food, and this is where you sleep and use the bathroom. Other than that, you're probably outside in something like this. And it is worth noting that privacy curtain, it does not include the entry door. So if somebody walks in when you have that curtain pulled, they're not looking straight at you, which is kind of nice. Now, these do come with a full-size roof air conditioner, which is kind of cool. And I'm going to teach you how to fish here. If you want to learn the type of cabinetry that an RV has, here's how you do it. Find a cabinet like this, so this is called a rail, and the vertical one is called a stile. I think I got that right. Find where there's a merger of those 2 points, and then do what I'm about to show you. Flip your camera into selfie mode and stick it back there, because you'll literally be able to see what type of fasteners does it have. Now, in this, you'll see that it does have pocket screwed lumber core fasteners, whereas some campers in this class will have stapled fasteners. And stapled fasteners get kind of a bum rap. And the thing is, I've looked at thousands of used RVs over the years, many of which have had stapled cabinet fasteners, and the fact is, they hold up just fine. Like, a lot of people will say things like, oh, they're not built like they used to. My Fleetwood was a lot better. Fleetwood Prowler, Fleetwood Mallard had stapled cabinet fasteners, and they hold together just fine, even years and years later. Now, there's big storage under the bed, but you might have noticed I had to get the jack crank to kind of prop it up. This one doesn't include any kind of struts under the bed like the north-south Go Play beds do. That's a little tweak I would also like to see changed around. Again, maybe get rid of the outside speakers and offset some of that cost, but that's just the way that I look at it. That's my 2 cents. Now, over here in the bunk corner, I like how they gave us this little mesh foam pocket for each of the bunks. Each of the bunks, by the way, is rated for 300 pounds in sleeping mode. But here's an interesting thing. I don't talk about this very much. If you are talking like loading these up with cargo and going down the road, you lose 1/3 of that. So this is a 200-pound cargo travel space, but a 300-pound when it's sitting at rest kind of space, which is neat. And I'm not trying to smoke screen you on nothing. If you get around the corner here, the top bunk has USB plugs, but the bottom one does not. I don't understand that at all. I can't wrap my head around that one. Now, this you may have noticed from our floor plan in a flash, our little quick flyby footage. It does have one of those flip around either direction refrigerator doors. That's because all the Go Plays have that. In this floor plan, it doesn't really do us any good, but it also isn't hurting anything. And I do like how they have the buttons for like the gas electric water heater up here out of the way from little kids, like your awning buttons. Their little curious hands can't get a hold of those kind of things. They don't have heat vents in the floor. It doesn't have heat vents at all. It's a directly ducted furnace system, which is what we're seeing under those drawers. And I want to draw some attention to that. Let me go ahead and get these open for you. The fact that these are actually drawers. So many little campers do not include any kind of drawer coverage. And I think that's a silly mistake and oversight. I'm glad that we don't have that little deficiency here. And that's the thing. There's a couple little things that are preferential that maybe I don't personally prefer. But they're things that for very, very little money and time, I could personally resolve at my house. The big, important things, like a big fridge, drawers in the kitchen, good storage going on over here, Those things this RV does handle very well. Now again, it's limited in prep space, but that's not like that's a deficiency in the floor plan design. It's just a limitation of the floor plan design. There's a key difference between those things there. I don't know why. I'm liking those two dinosaurs over in that corner. If they show up missing after the end of this show, I don't know what happened to them. That's certain. I don't know. Anyway, back here, this bathroom is fairly fluffy friendly. There's some really good space around that. But a big reason for that is due to the fact that this is an 8-foot wide camper. Now, they also went with the shower curtain here to give you extra elbow room. I don't know that you need it. But when you go with the curtain, you kind of need to go with a tub to keep the curtain sort of in check. And if you look at this, there's one significant thing I'd like to see kind of tweaked around on these. It has no bathroom shower surround paneling. So you might be thinking, so, I mean, what do I do? Well, first of all, giving you a look here. Standing on the floor level and then standing up into this. I'm a little over 6 foot. You can see I can still stand in that shower without my head being necessarily up in that vent fan skylight wombo combo. But when you're looking at a situation like this is how RVs were done for decades, and frankly, they got along just fine, folks. What you need to do when you're done taking a nice hot steamy shower, take your towel and wipe down the walls best you can. Then open this vent and turn on that fan. And even just a little bit of airflow will help exhaust and dry that moisture out so that it doesn't sink into the wall panels and it doesn't ruin everything. The key is not letting water sit there. But again, I'm just going to say it. I would like these to have shower surround paneling, and I'm going to ask you, what would your preference there be? I think I know the answer. Now, as you can see with the numbers appearing on the left-hand side of the screen right here, you don't need the Bigfoot Gravedigger monster truck to be able to handle one of these. And I don't know who the cool, big, fancy monster truck is nowadays, but when I was a kid, it was Bigfoot and Gravedigger, brother. Like, who's the popular monster truck now? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Funny story. I think it's funny. You may not. You might be bored by it, but I'm going to go through it anyway. When my nephews were younger, we took them to like a big monster truck show, and the truck's there smashing the cars. And just as a joke, my older brother looks at his son and goes, "Oh no, Daddy's car!" And my nephew lost it. He's like, "No, Daddy's car!" He was like, "How are we getting home?" I shouldn't laugh, but it was so funny. Maybe it might be one of those stories you may not think it was funny. I thought it was hilarious. All right, so we're looking at this extra side pocket of storage. That is there because this is an 8-foot wide camper. Most builders of this layout will build it 7, maybe 7.5 foot wide. The extra foot of interior width, yeah, it adds a little bit of weight. It definitely, like, you want towing extension mirrors. I think, frankly, I don't care if it is a 7-foot wide camper. I think you should still get some towing extension mirrors. That's just my personal 2 cents. The thing there, though, is it adds some extra space storage that, the smaller models don't, but it's an offset. The power awning on this is, I think, as good as it really could have been. I like the LED lighting. I could absolutely do without the speakers, and I don't even care to replace them with anything. I just don't think they need to be there whatsoever. Now, in case you're kind of curious, if you're zooming in and reading this sign, I'm recording this at it's the second largest indoor RV show in the nation in Novi, Michigan. It happens twice every year, and our team decided this year we would include a little Nerd Herd, merchandise swag kit with every purchase. Now, that doesn't include, when you're watching this video, that offer will have already expired, so apologies there. But the good news is you can get that stuff anytime right online. I've got my own little silly nerd merch kind of channel now, and I'll leave a link for that in the video description for you, if you're curious, Working our way in the back here. It does have a full rear bumper, which is kind of handy if you want to add some accessories, although I'm going to tell you here, be very careful doing that, especially when you already have a spare tire on the back. These bumpers are not designed to be able to handle like a 4-bike carrier and a spare tire. Like, you might bend the bumper bouncing down the road if that happens, and that's true on pretty much any travel trailer. The bumper's not there to handle that kind of weight. If I get you down here, I do believe, oh yes, that's not a propane cooker hooker. Folks, when the gas comes out the backside, that is a propanus. I mean, that right there's got to be worth like $4,000, right? Pfft, obviously. Anyway, probably not. I don't know. This does have a fully walkable roof. We are prepped and ready for a telescopic removable ladder. So if you need to get up there for any kind of maintenance, it can definitely hold American-sized people, which is nice. Some nice tinted window coverage, albeit on the poop side of the camper, not over on the, well, camp side of the camper. The RV also has an enclosed underbelly, and it does have a single sewer outlet point back here. And I think that's the best location for it, in the back driver's side corner of the RV, because what that's going to do is it's usually going to be the place closest to the park hookups if you do any sort of park camping. And I will tell you, again, being fair, these are not made to be the be-all, end-all for everybody. Like, the holding tank sizes on these are not massive. So if you are a serious boondock RVer, that might be a factor you want to consider. And again, keep in mind, I just went out of my way to discuss something that might suggest to you not to buy this RV. And I hope you appreciate that. And if you do, give us a call, because chances are we've got something else that would work for you. And you know that we're going to shoot you straight when it comes right down to it. Now, if you've been paying attention, you see a giant price banner up here up top of this thing. At the time of this filming, that is correct. Now, we've actually done a lot of work to do everything we can to make the pricing on these consistent and standardized nationally even. And you can get these at every single Bish's RV dealership. Some of our stores don't always have a big active stock of Go Plays, but we can always get one sent to you. Keep that in mind. Now, keep in mind, if we're going to ship it across the country, yes, there's obviously, you know, charge for shipping distance and things like that. But the fact is, you can get these at any Bish's RV store, and we have done everything we can to bring, basically, what can I say, other than like pre-pandemic pricing back to the RV industry. So if you like that concept, if you have some input, a floor plan you'd like to see, leave me some notes and let me know what you think about this one. And until next time, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.